I'm in love. I'm in love. It's been a long time. I love you. I love you too. Beautiful. Biggin. She's coming in on your feet, careful. Haha. There we go, prop walker, baby. They love it. Here's a good one. Yep. Yep. Hello, buddy. So it's a little bit of a wind chop right now. This water's really clean out here. We're throwing some subsurface baits, but a lot of the time you can trick them when that wind's blowing to look up at the surface. They see a commotion going back and forth like a prop walker walking in its pencil style like that, and they can't analyze it very well. They got to choose to eat or let it go on by. We got a big one and a few small ones, but it's absolutely a blast catching them. Let's keep her going. Thank you very much, little buddy. You take care. So guys, a lot of people think in the spring, it's not a good time to try a topwater bait. I'll tell you what, if you got water temperature 58 degrees or above that, and in the spring fish are shallow and you are not trying a topwater, you could seriously be missing the bus. You get some gray skies, some shallow bass, a little bit of wind chop, give it a shot. And the bait like the prop walker here, that's a big hunk of meat. You know, we have this in a smaller size too at Savage Gear, but it throws a lot of water, it's spitting, it's walking, it's showing them a big wounded meal that they can easily come up and get. Water's a little bit cleaner today, but if I'm gonna fish shallow or dingy water, this bait has props on the side that you can pop right out. It's really cool, I'll show you that. You can very easily come up next to some timber in shallow water and throw a prop style bait. You get out over deeper water, fish are suspended, you can draw them up by switching back over to the pencil popper style. So, you know, it was a little bit sunnier out earlier and I could visually see that weed line, but then we had some cloud cover move in. We got a little bit more chop and we really couldn't parallel what we wanted to with a glide bait to really focus on that strike. So I picked up the prop walker, covering some water. I know I can come across that weed line, go back and forth a little bit farther. That walk the dog style bait's gonna drag those fish up from a little bit deeper, and that's exactly what it's doing. I don't have to be as critical, cover more water, draw more fish up. It seems to be working so far. You know, so when you get a lot of chop on the water, it's not the easiest thing to work most topwater baits. But when you have a longer pencil popper style bait, it's making commotion. It's still easy for them to track and find even in that chop. So don't put down a topwater right away when you can throw a bigger chunkier piece of meat like that, because I'm getting some big ones. God dang. Jeez, low. Ooh, guys, she is in the lower lip right here. This is a dangerous way to get this fish. I gotta get around her. I gotta get my hand physically under her belly to get her in this boat. She is literally barely hooked and still barely hooked, and I got her in. Woo! Oh, she had that back hook in there. That right there is what it comes down to, guys. Big fish, climactic moments, and good times. If you're not throwing a topwater on these spring days, you're missing out. It's too much fun, man. Oh, I love this game. Ah, my heart's racing. She was trying to hook me with everything she had. Hands shaking, heart's thumping. I think that's why we bass fish, right guys? That prop walker, man, I'm telling you, I've caught so many big ones on this dang thing. I'm in love. I'm in love. It's been a long time. I love you. I love you too. Beautiful. Thank you, baby. I know a ton of guys, and like myself, I often can't stand wind, all right? But you can see right here, we're dealing with 15, 20 mile an hour wind ripping against my back. We're in a little aluminum boat right now. This is nothing special. You can go out and we're making long parallel casts to this grass line. We're just drifting. We're using the big motor, going upwind, and just drifting along and using our trolling motor to kind of scoot us closer to that grass line. And a bait where you don't have to be overly precise, it's a great way to do it. Drift on down that grass line, cover a lot of water fast, and you may trigger a bigger fish doing the exact same thing. So a really cool thing about this bait, guys, if this was just like a pointed nose, like a spook, it may not be standing out to them. There's a lot of chop on the surface, but that cup mouth, and I'm actually fishing against the wind, and usually the bass are looking into the wind, so that's kind of a rule breaker, but that's coming through when I'm walking the dog like that. It's coming through and it's throwing water. It's drawing up a lot of attention for them to focus on. Rougher surface, don't be too subtle. Try to go something making a little bit more commotion. It looks bigger too. That's also gonna help draw a bigger fish up. If I notice fish are deeper, or I see one swipe and miss, that usually means they're coming up from a deeper depth. So a slower walk can also increase the odds of them coming up. That strike zone that they're traveling up to is still small. So the more water you cover above their head, the less likely they are to continue chasing. If you could do that slower walk the dog, if those fish are suspended a little bit deeper, that slower is staying up there and encouraging them to travel that distance to go and get it. The shallower they are, the faster you can walk it. So normally around 60 degrees is where that topwater bite begins. It's 64 degrees today. So a more modern cadence, like a little bit, moderate, you're slowing down is gonna help you more often than going faster. The closer you are to 60 degrees, just start it a little bit slower. As that water temperature near 65 or above, you can start picking up your retrieval cadence and moving it a little bit faster. All right, guys, so for my setup today, I prefer, 7 foot to 7'6" is okay for a topwater bait rod. A lot of the times with a big pencil style bait like this, I'm throwing it on an identical setup that I would throw a frog on. A lot of people choose 50. I like 65 for frog fishing because I can yank them out, and 65 fishes just fine. That braid's a little thicker diameter, stays up on top, makes it easier. Now, most often when I'm fishing a moving bait on the surface, I'll fish 100% braid. Right directly to the bait. I don't need a leader, even in the cleanest water. I live in Northern California. I fish lakes with 40-foot plus visibility, and braid has never given me a problem unless I'm throwing something like a popper where I pop it and it's sitting dead still. But a bait like this that you're moving back and forth, 100% braid is absolutely fine. One thing that is really critical on all of my topwater baits, I'll use the fastest reel I can get. This is a 9.3, nothing saying you need to use a 9.3. But the fastest reel is okay when you're physically looking at a bait because you'll visually tell yourself to slow down. Subsurface, I would never fish a 9.3. Flipping, pitching, topwater, I like fast. If you see something happen on the surface, you can get it right out to that commotion. So why braided line? It's simple, it's a lot stronger, and there's virtually zero stretch. I can continuously walk the dog. I'm not setting the hook until I feel the pressure of the fish. So I just keep doing that walk the dog motion till the rod starts to load, and I strictly reel down and bow up. The braid's such a direct connection with treble hooks, even if you kept walking it and just started reeling faster, chances are you wouldn't lose that fish. There we go. Another pretty little prop walker fish. Yeah.